Good evening, everyone. My name is Landa Joy Morgan. This is my lovely wife.
I'm Rotunda Morgan.
And welcome to another episode of
Living More with the Morgans.
Thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in. Let us know that you can hear us, that everything is coming through loud and clear on the channels. And right now, we're streaming on several different channels. We're streaming on my personal Facebook page. We're streaming on the Living More with the Morgans Facebook page, and you can find that at facebook.com/Living More Morgans. You can also find us on Twitter, Periscope, at Live More Morgans. And then, of course, we're also on YouTube live right now. And if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, be sure to go to youtube.com and just type in Living More with the Morgans. It's a brand new channel, so we need all the subscriptions. You guys need to go ahead and subscribe.
Yes.
You know what to do. Come on now.
And then we're streaming live on my page as well.
Oh, that's right. We're on my wife's page as well,
Yes.
Rotunda Morgan. And so you guys can check us out right now. So if you're tuned in, go ahead and share this on your wall. Tag some people to go ahead and come into the broadcast right now. We're going to be on here for about a good hour.
Yes.
About a good hour? That's cool? Okay,
hour,
yeah.
yeah.
And so we'll be here for an hour. Let us know that you guys can hear us. Everything is coming across clearly. And again, this episode is part 2 from Tuesday night's episode.
Right.
And that episode was called the Okey Doke. And this is the Okey Doke part 2. Right? And so how we were kind of explaining with part 2, in part 1, we were saying the Okey Doke was kind of like this African American colloquialism, right? Where the wool has been pulled over our eyes. We've been bamboozled, right? And so everything that comes with that, it's like we've been told one thing, but then we experience another thing.
That's right.
Right? You people are telling us that this is what it is, but then we see them doing a whole different thing. And so that's what the Okey Doke is. And so we wanted to continue from Tuesday night's conversation. Now, we usually come on Tuesday nights at 8:00 p.m. But for this conversation, we had to make an exception.
Yes.
Right? We had to keep the conversation going. I think people were inboxing us and sending comments saying, hey.
A lot of comments.
A lot of comments. And they were saying, hey, you guys need to go ahead and finish this conversation. And we wanted to, right?
Yeah, we did.
The conversation was getting so good and so deep that, we had to, just go ahead and continue the conversation. So you guys, I'm going to check my Facebook pages. I'm going to check all of our streaming pages. And just to make sure that you guys can hear us loud and clear, hit us with the comments. Hit us up. Hit us up now. Go to YouTube, subscribe.
Yes.
Go ahead and type in Living More with the Morgans, and then hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell for notifications on when we come in. And usually, like I said, we come in on Tuesday nights at 8:00 p.m. Central Time.
Yes.
But tonight we had to make an exception and go ahead and get it in on a Friday night. Now, Friday night, it's Friday night. You're supposed to get your boogie on. You're supposed to get your party on. But I know a lot of y'all got bills. You got paid, and that paycheck then got eaten up. How you gonna say it? It's been eaten up with them bills, and you ain't got nothing to do. Put the kids to sleep. This is mature audiences only because we're going to take it there.
Right.
But you ain't got nothing to do. Go get you some Kool-Aid. Go get you some popcorn. Kool-Aid, the red kind.
Oh, the red kind. Okay.
It ain't got no specific flavor. It's just red.
It's just red.
Get you the red kind of Kool-Aid. Tune in tonight. Invite your people. And let's get it on. All right?
Yes.
So, again, we're going to continue with the Okey Doke.
Wow.
And I think one of the things that we was talking about, honey, was just how in society we've really been bamboozled, particularly in our community, and particularly in the African American culture. Is that oftentimes, and it'd be people of color, even if you're white, even if you're in the Caucasian community, you've been bamboozled because society has told us to do one thing this way.
Yeah.
Or live in this part of town.
Right.
Right? And we were talking on Tuesday night how it goes back, to even times of slavery in this country in particular. If you're in Africa and South Africa, apartheid and all those different things where a lot of neighborhoods in America were what was called redlining. And the banks, the financial institutions, the insurance companies, all of them were in on that, on really kind of separating and segregating people of color from our white community, from the white community.
Right.
And how this community had to live on this side of the tracks, right? We had to live in the ghettos and the barrios if you're Latino, and we had to live on this side of the tracks with minimal resources, poor schools, poor funding, poor education, poor opportunities.
Right.
And then usually the Caucasian neighborhoods were more affluent, they were more developed, the schools were better, there were better books and different things like that for the kids and everything. And so it really has been ingrained in our society, whether you're black or white, that we have these imaginary boundaries and limitations that have been put on us.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that, honey?
It's absolutely the truth. And guess what that does? That causes fear. It causes doubt. It causes so many things because what it does, it tells you, or it makes you feel like I can't do anything other than what has been cut out for me to do.
Whoa.
Wow. You know what I'm saying?
And that's a great point. You said, I can't do anything. It makes you feel like you can't do anything other than what's been presented to you, what's readily available within your realm.
That's right.
And it's like they create this bubble for you, right?
Right.
Where you have to live in this bubble. You have to think within this bubble.
Right.
You have to travel within this bubble.
Right.
You can only do this. You can only do that.
Right.
And so real quick, I just want to acknowledge the people who have jumped on our Facebook feed real quick. We got my man Jackson Ina. He's on. What's going on, Chief? What's happening, man? I know you've been out for a little bit, so it's good to see you on back healthy, back doing your thing. Our spiritual mother, prophetess Beverly Anike is in the building. She is on.
Yay.
Absolutely looking beautiful. I know she's doing her thing.
Absolutely.
And she is missing Papa.
Yeah.
Man, Mama probably over there throwing a party. Mama probably over there popping her fingers.
That's probably why she couldn't see me today.
We ain't gonna say nothing on that.
Just kidding.
No.
Just kidding.
And then my man, big brother, Apostle Larry Peters is in the building. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My regards to your lovely wife as well. And my
AB.
niece.
Yes.
Absolutely, you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in.
Yes.
Ina, thank you so much. Loving it, like it for real. Thank you so much, man. I
much.
appreciate you,
We
bro.
appreciate it.
Share it on your wall, you guys. If you're
share.
digging it, share it on your wall. Tag some people. We finna get in. We
tag
finna
some
take it.
people.
Tag it in there. Let them know, yo, we got something that's new, that's fresh, that's out the box. We're not trying to do the whole, religious, churchy thing. Now we people of faith. Now.
Well, yeah.
We people of faith.
Yeah.
We got to keep it real. We people of faith.
Yes.
But you know what? There's things that I know that we need to discuss within the faith-based community.
That's true.
Right. Some things that we've set are off limits.
Right.
That we need to put back on the table.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so this is one of them. And so again, this is mature subject matter tonight. So we just ask that the kids probably be put in another room or put to sleep.
Right.
Get them some Legos. Get them a iPad or something to watch something else. But we're going to dig in tonight. But like we were saying, it's like we've been conditioned to think that we have to do things within this bubble.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because it relegates us to go in your corner and do what you know how to do.
Right.
And so it doesn't allow us to think freely. Right. It doesn't allow us to move freely.
Right.
And unfortunately, that mentality is still prevalent here in America.
It is.
And probably all over the world.
It is. It's not just here. It's around
and it's not
the
just
world.
here. And it's like, I even, and I'll say this, I'm fascinated with North Korea.
Yeah.
Right? I'm fascinated with North Korea. And I have been for several years.
Yes.
And I think about the North Korean, and the South Koreans in that part of the world. And to us over here in the West, it's like, what's the deal? What's the problem? Y'all Korean. Right? Y'all look the same.
Right.
Y'all have similar cultures, or if not the same culture, but a demarcation line, imaginary line, has said, oh no, the North Koreans stay on this side, South Koreans stay on this side, and that's what it is. And so it's all over the world.
All over
and
the
world. You don't get a chance to experience someone else's culture. You don't get a chance to experience someone else's life and the richness of their food or whatever. You don't get a chance to experience that because you've been subjected to say, you know what, you guys stay on your side and we'll stay on mine.
Absolutely. And that's the thing that is holding us back as people, because we all come from different races, different cultures, different environments, and we all, of course, we're different colors, but that's what make us so unique. We've traveled around the world and we've tasted all different kind of foods. We listen to all different kind of music. And you know what? We have an appreciation for the people that we've met, the food, the music, the culture, because you know, it makes us, it takes you outside of the box of your little neighborhood of what you think, okay, we just do this and this is how it should be. Where you see people are living and doing other things different than you are, which doesn't make it wrong. It's just they're living their life the way they're living it. And I think that once we begin to understand each other and the cultures and the different way of life, and we can glean from one another and bring that together. You know, we talk about that melting pot thing. Why are we not doing that? Because we look at what society or the news tell us, like you said with North Korea and South Korea. They're living in pretty much in the same area, but on like there's a border, there's a line. Okay, you can't cross over into North Korea, and North Korea you can't cross over, into South Korea. But why?
And here's the thing. It's an imaginary line.
It's an imaginary line.
It's an imaginary border, if you will. And there's military on both sides.
Absolutely.
There's North Korean military and South Korean military on both sides. And they're standing at guard, ready for someone to attack. Ready for the other side to pull a weapon or you know, throw something that, you know, can cause probably war over there. And this has been going on for years, for decades. Do we have that same mentality in our minds here in America?
We do.
You see what I'm saying? And we're standing at guard out of fear. Out of fear for what this community may do, or what this group of people may do, or how they're going to do it. And like you said, though, we have to have the desire. People have to have the desire to want to know what's on the other side. What another community or another culture has. And we have to have empathy. We have to have true empathy I mean, that's the only way, you know. And it's funny because we call ourselves the United States of America.
Say that.
You see what I'm saying? We call ourselves United States of America. But then each state has its own individual laws. Each state has its own, just kind of hidden agenda when it pertains to certain things. And then we separate ourselves by political party, where it's Democrats and Republicans and independent, it's left wing, right wing. All these different things are separating us, and they're imaginary limitations and imaginary boundaries that we're putting around ourselves.
And the media is
perpetuating it.
Absolutely. They perpetuate it. And that's what I wanted to really get into as well, is that you guys, we have to start to have our own mindset, okay? We can't always, Fox News said this, CNN said this, this person over here is doing this, or this person over here is doing that. The news said it. That doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it fact. I'm reminded of what Denzel Washington said to a reporter a few years ago. He said that, okay, you want to be first in making sure you report the news on your station first. But being first means, are you reporting it correctly? Is it right? Is it true? So what I'm saying is, we always think that, okay, if they reported it first, or if this news station said it, CNN they own it, and CNN is, you take them for face value. Or is CNN, what's the other one?
MSNBC.
All of those.
Fox News,
and Fox News. How do we know that that's true? Okay, they always say, well, Beyonce did this and she was over here doing this. How do we know Beyonce was over there? Because there's so much falsified information.
And we believe, and we're made to believe in this country.
We're made to believe
that one side is telling the truth.
That's right.
The other side is falsifying everything. The other side is just straight up lying to us. And so we even have these boundaries in our media, in our news. There's no integrity in our news anymore.
There's no integrity.
Well, we can't even trust people who make a living at this. We can't even trust that they're going to report to us the facts and what's real.
Not like it used
Not
to
like
be.
it used to be.
Right.
And they're doing it all in the name of money. And ratings and competition, like you were saying with Denzel.
Yeah.
That reporter was saying, oh, I want to be first.
Yes.
Now, you can be straight up first and you can be straight up wrong. And see, that's the problem. People are willing to be wrong. They're willing to be facetious. They're willing to be fraudulent just to be first. And so those are the people. Those are a lot of the things that are helping to shape our mentality and keep our mentality low.
That's right.
And so again, we call this the Okey Doke because it's been pulled on us.
That's right.
The wool has been pulled over our eyes, and the Okey Doke has been pulled on us because we're falling for it all the time.
All the time.
We're falling for it, and we're seeing it all the time on social media. We're seeing it all the time on our platforms nowadays, is that, yo, I mean, what's real? What isn't? Right. It's like now, if you want, we hear about somebody passing away, a celebrity or something.
Yes.
And so we don't believe it until we hear TMZ report it.
Right.
Right.
And TMZ used to be.
TMZ used to be straight up gossip, straight up just
not
raw, just
not
raw,
true.
not true,
Yes.
just gossip channel. But now when somebody passes away, it's like, oh, okay, if TMZ don't report it, they still here. They ain't dead. And so those are things that are molding our minds in our society.
Right.
And that is the Okey Doke that's been pulled on us, unfortunately.
Yes.
And so you guys, we want you guys that are tuning in, let us know what you think, right?
Yes.
Hit us up in the comments, right? Hit us up in our DMs on our Facebook page, and let us know what you think, because ultimately, we're going to be the ones that change this, us as a people. And that's being unified, and that's being willing to cross the table.
That's right.
I think about, several years ago when we were electing our first black president.
Yeah.
Right? And we saw how the candidate at the time, Barack Obama, his whole spiel, and I hate to call it spiel, but his whole campaign was built on hope.
Yes.
And it was built on unifying people. And the only way that he would have been able to get in office, because there ain't enough black people in America. We don't make up about 10, 11% of the population.
Right.
So that would not have put him in office, right? So there had to be a coming together of cultures, of ethnic groups, black, white, straight, gay, all of that had to come together under this hope that he was bringing in his campaign.
Right.
Ultimately, it happened, it worked, and we had it for 8 years, right? We had him in office for 8 years. Then afterwards, we have the election of Trump, and whether you're a Trump a supporter or not, that's not the issue here. But what we did see in America is we saw this huge, great divide. Now, not to say that wasn't there during Obama's term, because it was.
Yes.
Racism, bigotry ain't going nowhere. But we saw it more inflated. We saw it more inflamed during the candidacy during Trump's run.
Right.
And we saw it more emboldened in people. And so we had this divide where people were even talking about potential civil war, where there was going to be blacks against white, or there's going to be the North against the South, right? Again, these are these things in the media, in our society, that's shaping our mind out of total fear. Out of lies and out of fear.
Yes.
And so again, I go back to what I was talking about with redlining, is that shaped our minds, particularly in the South and in the Midwest, where, like in Chicago, they said, okay, blacks are on this side, on the South side.
Yeah.
And white folks can be on this side.
Right.
And so all the black people are in the poor schools and the poor neighborhoods, and even to this day, there's communities of blacks and Latinos that don't have running water.
Right.
That don't have clean water, that are drinking bad water, bad sewage in 2022. In the wealthiest country in the world.
Right.
We're producing $1 billion per day in this country. And you mean to tell me that there are still black and Latino neighborhoods that are drinking bad water? Right. That's like a third world country.
Right. That's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like. If you were to hear that and really pay attention to that, that sounds like a third world country.
Wow. You know, and to piggyback off what you're saying is that you're absolutely right. Why hasn't it been someone to push the envelope even the more?
Right.
Just to say we have to stop this divide amongst one another, amongst each other. We can't, because we're not living.
Right.
We're not living. We're not living a life that, that is outside of that bubble that has been created. Why hasn't someone said, okay, this is not right. It's wrong.
Right.
Right. And we continue to allow it to go on. And look, we're in the year 2022.
Wow.
2022. This is not the 1900s. This is 2022. And we still are there with the wool pulled over our eyes of so many different things. Even with traveling. I know we'll get into that in a few minutes, but with everything, fear, with everything. Don't go over here. They're doing this. Or don't go over there. You'll get hurt. Oh, they say this was happening over here. It's just being perpetuated to the point where people are just saying, I won't get outside of this box. I won't go outside of the box. I'll stay within the confines of this because it's safe.
Right.
It's safe.
And that's unfortunate.
That's unfortunate.
And before we continue on with the conversation, I think it's getting good. I just want to make sure that everyone out there that is listening and watching, that you guys can hear us.
Yes.
One of the gentlemen, Jackson, he said that he lost sound. So I just want to make sure that you guys can hear us. So if you're tuning in, please hit us up in the comments and just let us know that you can hear the sound and that the picture quality and the sound is okay.
Yes,
right?
please.
If it's not, please let us know. We strive to do things in excellence.
Yes.
But of course, this is technology, so things can happen outside of our control. And so let us know that you can hear us loud and clear, that the picture and everything is good, and that the feed is coming across good. And if it is not, please hit us in the comments immediately.
Yes.
So we can go ahead and remedy that. We want to make sure that the broadcast is enjoyable for everyone. We don't want to lose anyone that was on that may have hopped off because they're having some technical difficulties. So please let us know that, and we'll definitely fix that as soon as possible. But going back to what we were talking about, honey, with the Okey Doke. And, I can take it back, and again, I'm fascinated with history. I'm fascinated even with geography and culture. And I think about how in Africa, we've had a chance to go to Africa several times here. Beautiful Africa.
Yes.
If you guys have not been, I implore you to get to Africa. It's beautiful. It's safe. It'll transform your thinking. It'll transform your life going to Africa.
It will.
But I share that because in America, there was a lot of negative stereotypes about Africa that was fed to us through the media.
It was.
Right? Africa is dirty. Africa is stinky. It's nothing but a bunch, safari with animals roaming around and people living in huts. That was what was fed to us, through the media for years. Particularly when I was younger, in the 80s and stuff, you saw a lot of the things with AIDS. You saw a lot of things with the kids were malnourished and they didn't have any food, different diseases that were going on, Ebola, AIDS, and all these different things. And so we were seeing this as we were growing up, and we started developing this mindset that, I don't want to go to Africa.
Right.
Because of I don't want to be a part of that, and they were deeming it third world countries and underdeveloped, and they didn't have this and they didn't have that. And as I got older, and as we got more technologically advanced with the internet, you're starting to see things that are contradicting what they were telling us in the media.
It is, because I had the same idea. I believed the same thing at the time. I never wanted to go because I was like, they say all of this stuff is going on, diseases, it's not developed, and all of that. I never wanted to go. That was one of the reasons. I won't, at this point, what we're talking about now, I won't get into the other reason, but that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to go and visit because of that.
And I think that's for a lot of people,
Yeah.
particularly people of color.
Yes.
Particularly us as African Americans, is that,
Yes.
again, that was the okey doke pulled over our eyes.
It was.
Is that we were told, you don't want to go there, it's dirty, it's this, it's that, it's animals, that, you know, the people there are savage and they're
Yes.
not civilized, and all these different things that we were fed in our media, and we started believing that, unfortunately.
We did.
And so once we got a chance, like I said, with technology and the internet and YouTube and all these different things that have at our disposal now,
Yes.
we're able to see that we're able to make our own decisions
Yes.
now. We're able to
We're able to
decipher
make our own
ourselves
decisions.
outside of what we've been told.
Absolutely.
Is that, no, Africa is not this way.
No.
You know, Brazil is not this way. Haiti
No.
is not this way. All these different places, particularly places with people of color and
Right.
black folks,
Right.
they were telling us were just underdeveloped and ugly and this and this and this and that. But here's the thing that really got me. When I started studying history, I started seeing that the Europeans were colonizing the whole continent. And I started thinking, if it's so bad,
That's where I was going.
yeah, if it's so bad, if it's so stinky, if it's so underdeveloped, why are the Europeans there? And why are they conquering huge pieces of land
Right.
and making, again, imaginary borders
Yes.
where
Imaginary borders.
Nigeria is not Nigeria,
Right.
Algeria is not Algeria,
No.
Morocco is not Morocco. It was all one big, huge landmass. And then when I started studying even more and heard about the Berlin Conference,
Right.
where the Europeans from different nations were coming together and literally having maps of Africa on the table and dividing up the spoils amongst one another.
Wow.
Italy, you take this.
Wow.
Portugal, you take this. Spain, you take this.
Wow.
United Kingdom, you take this. Germany,
Yeah.
you take this.
Yes.
France, you take this.
Yeah.
And so they're all divvying up the spoils and the people.
Right.
Who's going to be our servants? Who's going to be our slaves? Who's
Right.
going to work this land? Who's going to dig our gold? Surely we're not going to dig our own gold.
Right.
We're not going to dig for our own diamonds. We're not going to dig for our own copper. And so that's what was taking place.
Right.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
is that the okey doke was pulled on us, and they were telling us that the land was so bad
Yes.
and it was so ugly and stinky, but they were going over there and taking all the spoils and the resources
all
for
the
themselves.
resources. Right.
And so that made me kind of wake up and see, now hold up, if it's really that bad, why are you there?
Right.
And why are you spending millions of dollars in marketing
Right.
to tell me not to come there,
That's right.
to make me not want to go there? Because whoever controls the media, they control the world.
Yeah.
And we don't
Say that
control the
again.
whoever controls the media controls the world. Because when
That's
you
right.
control the media, you control minds. You control the
This
mind.
is what we were talking. This is what
Absolutely.
we're trying to get everyone
Absolutely.
to understand.
You control the mind, you control the money when you can control the media.
Yes.
And so they were keeping us away from our brothers and sisters over there on that continent with these imaginary boundaries.
Right.
Where, oh, your tribe does this, oh, well, your country does this, and it was the okey doke on a grand scale.
Yes.
And that's where today we have such issues with fear of one another.
Yes.
We have issues with even as African Americans, it's sad to see that we have issues with our black brothers and sisters in Africa
Yes.
because of the fear
The fear.
that has been put on us to make us
Yes.
think, oh, you can't trust your African brothers and sisters.
Right.
Or your African sisters can't trust you African Americans.
Yes.
It's unfortunate. I mean, what are your
Yes.
thoughts on that, Anna?
You're absolutely right. And then go across even more. Latinos can't trust African Americans. African Americans can't trust Latinos.
Right.
You know, Asians can't trust us, and we can't trust Asians. It has been what we call this show the okey doke. It has been pulled, the wool has been pulled over our eyes. And we have more to offer one another than we have to take from one another.
Wow.
We have so much to offer one another, you know? And like I said earlier in the broadcast, in culture, in everything, we can learn from one another.
So it's not just living more.
No.
It's giving more.
It's giving. Oh, I love
It's
that.
giving more.
Yes.
We have more that we can give than we can take from folks.
You know, the Bible says it's more blessed to give than to receive.
Absolutely. And so a part of living,
Yes.
to live more, you got to give more.
You have to give.
If you want to get more love,
Yes.
you got to give more love.
Yes.
And then when you give more love, ultimately you start living more.
You do.
You have more to live for.
You do.
Right?
You do.
When there's love there.
When there's love there.
But you guys, we're deep in the broadcast and we need to take some breaks because you know what? We got to pay some bills, right?
Bills.
And so we're going to pay some bills, take a commercial break. We're going to be right back. Let us know that you can hear us, you guys. Let us know. We've seen some people kind of drop off, and that's not what we want. We want you to tune in, and we want you to tune in with a clear broadcast, clear audio. So let us know if some things are not working on every channel that you're on, that we're on. If you do not hear us clearly, if you do not see us clearly, if there's any kind of delay, please let us know in the comments so that we can fix that as soon as possible. All right.
Yes.
So we're going to take this commercial break, and we'll be right back with you guys. All right. It doesn't matter what they call you. What matters is what you answer to. Landisheray.
Today, people and business owners have a ton of options to choose from when it comes to web developers, graphic designers, social media marketing, branding, and the list goes on. And that might not be such a good thing. What if there was one company that you and your business could trust that could provide all these services at prices that won't eat up your business capital before it gets off the ground? From logo design, branding, custom website development, hosting, social media marketing, print media design, and more. Infusion does it all under one roof with a team of professionals that are just a phone call away. Infusion Design Solutions, the infusion of exceptional design and affordability. Visit us online at infusion.com. Where can I find a professional logo designer? Wow, nice. Infusion Design Solutions. Visit us online at infusion.com.
All right, you guys, and we're back.
We're back.
With Living More with the Morgans.
Yes.
And so you guys, you know, we're talking about the Okey Doke being pulled over our eyes.
Right.
And it's hard to talk about because it has affected every community, every culture, every race, where we are divided and we are segregated out of fear.
Out of fear.
And in order for us to start living more,
right,
in order for us to start really living outside of our comfort zones, we're going to have the desire to come across the table and shake hands with people that don't think like us, that don't look like us.
That's right.
That don't come from the same economic background that we do, or don't come from the same culture, or don't eat the same foods that we do.
Right.
I heard a comment from a podcast not too long ago And it kind of hurt me to my heart to hear it because, again, it was coming from us as African Americans.
Okay.
And in this podcast, the people that were having the podcast, they were having this conversation, and one of the things that was said was that they didn't, they weren't going to eat other people's foods from other cultures. They weren't going to eat on the floor and didn't want to eat with their hands other people's foods, and and they were saying it jokingly, but they were serious about what they were saying. And I know they're good people. I'm not ragging on them on the podcast at all, because they're good people. But that mentality is what is shortchanging us. Where we sat on the floor, we went to Egypt.
Yes.
And we're in a village outside of Cairo. And we're sitting on the floor. My wife and I, we're Christians, and we're sitting on the floor with people who are Muslims.
That's right.
And we're sitting on their floor in their beautiful home.
Yes.
And very meager, humble home. And they cooked us a banquet, a feast. They cooked us a feast.
They didn't know us.
And they didn't know us.
all.
They've never met us.
Never met us.
They didn't know us.
Right.
And they met us through the travel agency that we happened to go with.
Right.
That we had no plans to even go with, that we met while we were there in Cairo. And these people embraced us.
Yes.
They embraced us, and we sat on their floors.
Yes.
Whether it was dusty or whatever. But we sat on their floors and we ate their food that they worked hard for.
Worked hard for.
That they cooked for by hand.
Yes.
Milking cows by hand.
Yes.
In their village outside of Cairo, so that we could experience their culture, so we could experience their way of showing and expressing love and hospitality.
That's right.
And we ate the food with our hands.
Yes.
And we sat on the floor.
Yes.
And we laughed, and we cried.
Yes.
And we hugged kids.
Yes.
And they hugged us.
Yes.
And we didn't speak a lick of Arabic.
Not one bit.
All I know is shukran, which means thank
shukran.
you.
Right. Inshallah.
And inshallah.
Yeah.
That's all we knew.
Right.
And we're black Christians sitting on the floor of these Egyptian Muslims, and we felt safe.
Right.
We felt guarded. We felt protected.
Right.
We were meeting people who had a man who had multiple wives.
Yeah.
And we laughed with them. We talked with them. We had tea in his home with his wives, his multiple wives.
Right.
That's living more.
That is.
So when I heard this particular podcast from these African Americans say that hurt me to my core to hear, because again, they're doing it for laughs and ha ha he ha 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 ha. That's what black folks do. But you don't know that you're cutting off your experience. You're cutting off what you could explore in the world.
Right. Right.
You're cutting off something that maybe God wanted to open your eyes to. You're wanting to cut that off because
Right.
of ignorance.
Right. And the only way that this will stop, as far as those people on that side and we on this side, the segregation, the only way it stops is us. We have to stop it. Just like my husband said, we are sitting on the floor in Egypt, eating, their cuisine, laughing, enjoying ourselves. We are not there to force our religion on them. We're not there to make them, think like we think. We're not there for that. Of course, anywhere you go, you always have to have what we call discernment.
Yes.
You have to know where to go. You have to know that. But at the same time, if we're going to continue to live in fear, or we're going to continue to perpetuate what the media has told us about certain people, then don't expect to grow. Don't expect more out of your life.
And think about it. What if other cultures if we knew that other cultures were saying that about us. Oh, I'm not going to come around them African Americans because all they eat is fried chicken and watermelon and collard greens. What if they had that negative perception of us and we knew about it?
Right, right.
We'd be ready to fight and protest.
Right, right.
So again, you guys, we have to break out of this mindset. Everything ain't about laughs and he hucking. No. God wants us to experience more. So it starts with you.
Yes.
It starts with a decision that you make to say,
Yes.
you know what? I want to take the limitations off. And see, this is the thing. We sing songs about that. We sing
Take
songs.
the limits off.
Yeah, take the limits off. We sing songs in the church. In our faith-based communities, we sing songs, Lord, no limits, no boundaries. I want increase. God, do this. God, expose me. Make me over, Lord. We're singing these things, but are we doing these things? Are we exhibiting these things?
Right.
And see, that's the problem with many of us, is that we have to have the mentality. We have to have a mind shift.
Right.
We have to, our thinking has to be renewed.
It has to be renewed.
It has to be transformed.
It has to be.
Because we're limiting ourselves, again, with these invisible boundaries.
Yes.
When we went to Nigeria, and I love Nigeria, love Nigeria.
Love Nigeria.
But we have some spiritual sons that have never left Nigeria.
Yeah.
And we were able to introduce them to some Egyptian fam that we met in Egypt. We were able to introduce them to them and let them know, these brothers are in your backyard.
Right. Right.
Y'all on the same landmass.
Right.
So you can take a quick plane and be in Cairo
Right.
in 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that is what we're trying to get people to understand, is that it starts with a decision to you to say, you know what, I'm not going to live in the confines
Right.
of what I've always known.
We're trying to narrow the gap. Okay.
Exactly.
We don't want. We're tired of seeing that. There's a lot of times, honey, when we go on vacation, we don't see a lot of us. Now, a lot of people know that we love it to travel internationally. That's what we love to do, because again, but you know, it's also a ministry for us as well. This is what God has given us to do, to go out. I'm reminded of, you know, Black Man the Traveler.
Yes.
There's this guy that is he's on YouTube, and he travels all over the world, you know, to break it, to what word I want to use, to connect people.
Yes.
To bring people together.
Yes.
And all different cultures, all different faith. He wants this to stop, because if we don't stop it now, you guys, we only have one chance at this.
Right.
We don't have another opportunity. Why would we want our children, even our children, to live like, oh no, we don't deal with the people over on the south side, or
Right.
we don't deal with people of this color, of this faith.
Why would we want the next generation
The next
to
generation
have the
do
same
that.
biases,
Right.
the same ignorance that we had, or that we were even forced to have?
Yes.
There were times in my parents' generation, in your parents' generation, and older, they were forced to have that mentality
Yeah.
for that time.
They were.
Especially to be able to survive. Why are we going to put that on the next generation? With all this technology that we have that can connect us, the technology is here so that we can connect.
That's right.
I love that you brought up the gentleman, Black Man the Traveler.
Yes.
And he's on YouTube. He's got a phenomenal YouTube channel, and his videos are raw and gritty.
Yes.
And he's, I believe he's Ghanaian, British Ghanaian,
Yes.
from the UK.
Yes.
And he goes, I mean, he's been to Pakistan, he's been to India.
Yes.
I mean, Spain, I think he's in Spain now.
He's in Spain
but he
right
goes
now.
all over these places, and he's bringing the culture directly to you. It's raw, uncut, unfiltered. Why is he doing that? And I've always said this, and there may be people who disagree, and you can disagree with that. That's fine. I believe that the unity of the world is going to come through the hands and the minds of Black people. I just believe that. I believe that our white brothers and sisters, and those who are not Black and not, who are not people of color, I believe that they will have influence, and I believe that they will help us, right? But every team, every football team has its leader, has its quarterback, right? And I believe that the black people of the world, we are that quarterback to be able to champion and lead that team to victory. But you can't do it without your left tackle, your right tackle, your guards, your wide receivers. So we need everybody. You need a whole team.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
you
right.
need a whole team.
That's right.
And so that doesn't discredit the need for our white brothers and sisters.
No.
That doesn't discredit or discount the need for our Latinos or our Asian or our Indian or whomever. It doesn't discredit them. It says that we need everybody to play their part, to think outside the box and to know the playbook so that we can go on to victory.
You know that song that we used to sing a few years ago? It's been quite a while now. I need you. I need you.
Yes.
You need me.
Yes. Yeah.
We're all a part of God's body.
Yes.
We need everyone to do this. Everyone. So there's no, little I's, big U's. There's none of that. We need everyone to come together. It's time. It's time. Like we said in the first segment on Tuesday, we've overcome. We're still in it. A pandemic, and we've had so many people that have passed from something that we can't see, feel, touch, hear.
Right.
And are we going to still, at this point in our lives, still be divided? Are we still going to be divided? We don't get another opportunity at life here.
Oh, I love you. I love that you said that. I love that you said that, because I don't think people really understand. This is not dress rehearsal.
This is not.
This is not dress rehearsal, you guys. This is showtime.
Yeah.
This is the big stage.
Right.
And how you live this life and what you do with this life is on you. How you treat other people is on you. We don't get a chance. We don't get a do-over. I surely don't believe in no reincarnation.
No.
When we leave here, we're going to come back as butterflies or as roaches. I just don't believe that. No.
Roaches. I don't want to be that.
Yeah. We get one opportunity to do this.
Right.
And so let's make sure that with the breath that we breathe, that the gift of life that God has given us, regardless of what you believe, regardless of what higher power you believe in, regardless of your faith or your religion, we can agree that life is precious, and we can agree that you only get one of them.
Yes.
And we need to live this thing.
And we need to live,
and we need to
love.
live it to the full.
Yes.
The Bible says that, beloved, I wish beyond all things that you would have life and life more abundantly, and that you would be in good health and prosper. So what are we doing if we're living below that mandate, that wish, if you will? What are we doing if we're living below that?
Right.
What are you doing with your life? What are you doing with decisions today?
That's right.
Are we going to keep falling for the okey doke? Are we going to keep letting society and people and what Mama and Meemaw and what Uncle Timmy told us when we was kids, we're going to keep allowing that to be pulled over our eyes and look at the world through what they saw and what they experienced? Or are we going to actually live these songs that we sing and take the limits off? No boundaries, no limits.
Yes.
And see actual increase.
Yes.
Are we going to actually do these things, or are we just going to be content with singing songs and doing the whole religious thing?
Yes.
No, I just believe that God has more for us than that.
The thing I want to say is, what would it hurt to try? Try it. See what happens. No, everybody's not going to fall in line with it. We understand that. But try, reach over the lines and begin to know someone of a different culture. Reach it over so your kids can do the same. As you said earlier, we're not going to always be here. So our children are going to carry on those things that we instilled in them.
Absolutely. And for you guys that are tuning in, thank you again for tuning in tonight.
Yes, thank you so much.
We want you, of course, to invite friends. Share this
Yes.
on your page. Share this on your wall. Our social media handles are at the bottom of the screen, as you can see. You can hit us up on Facebook at Living More Morgans. We're also on YouTube. You have to type in Living More with the Morgans. And then we're also on Instagram. You can find us there at Living More Morgans, and then on Twitter, where you can find us at Live More Morgans. So follow us, like us, watch us, share the broadcast with your people. We're going to do this every week, you guys. Tuesday nights is the night.
Tuesday nights,
8
the
o'clock
night.
p.m. Central Time, 9
Yes.
Eastern. You guys, we want you to tune in, and we want you to start living more.
Yes.
But that's going to be a decision that's up to you ultimately.
Yes, it's up to you, but this is why we're here. We see so many people that are not living, so many people that are afraid, they live in fear, of what could happen, what has happened in the past, or I'm reminded, honey, of when we were in Egypt and last year, and you said, hey babe, we're gonna take a hot air balloon ride.
Right.
And I was like, what?
Right.
I was scared. Honestly, my husband can tell you I was afraid. So we had to get up real early, like 3:00 a.m. to get up, get ready, take a boat to go over on the West Bank.
Yeah.
And I was still afraid up till that point. And then I remember God saying to me, what are you afraid of? I brought you all the way from the United States to Qatar to Egypt. No,
Right.
to Turkey to Egypt. What are you afraid of? Have I not been with you the whole time?
The whole time.
Have I
Right.
not been with you? And when we start to go up in the air, we start ascending. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even feel it. I didn't even know that we were. And when we got up in the air, how far up were we? About,
Oh,
gosh, I
thousands,
can't.
maybe 1,000 or so
Right.
feet, yeah.
It was so beautiful.
Right.
And all the fears and all of the what could happen, what may happen, all of that went away. It went away.
Right.
And I began to look at Egypt and all of the, the temples and all the different things I could see from the air. And I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful. And it was so enjoyable.
Absolutely.
And I thought to myself, you could have missed out on something that you would have enjoyed, an occasion with your husband,
Right.
because of fear. Maybe saying, oh, babe, you go by yourself.
Right.
I'll stay on the ground.
Right.
But I said, no, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to stay on the ground. I'm going to get in this hot air balloon and I'm going to enjoy this. And it was so awesome because you know why? I didn't allow my fear to tell me what to do.
Right.
I didn't allow my fear to keep me from enjoying a moment with my husband, and a moment that I'll never forget. So I can't wait now to get in another one,
Right.
because I decided fear is not going to overcome me. I'm not going to be overcome by fear.
Right.
I'm going to live in the moment. And that's what we want for you guys. We want you to live and live in the moment and get outside of the box, get outside of your comfort zone.
Yes.
And don't allow fear to tell you that something's going to happen to you. It's not. Live. Live your life out loud. That's what I always say.
I think that's an excellent point, honey. I think, in you telling that story about the hot air balloon,
Yes.
and how after you did it, you felt exhilarated. You felt
Exhilarated.
You felt like I can do this again.
Yes. Yes.
And I can push the limits even more on the next thing.
Yes.
How many of us are not experiencing life to the full that we could be out of simple fear? Oh, I don't want to live in that part of town because of what I've heard or what's been told to me. Or because, you know what, I don't think I belong.
Wow.
Or, you know what, I don't want to go eat at that restaurant in that neighborhood because, you know what, I just don't think I belong over there. I see more of them than I do of us.
Right.
And so I'm not going to go. I'm not going to explore.
Right.
Or how many of us are missing an opportunity that is in another country to go explore or to make life-changing connections? Maybe the change that you want to happen in your life, that you want to happen in your life, maybe that connection is with someone that's in another country.
Right.
That person could be in Jamaica,
Yes.
or that person could be in Germany or Japan. But you will never know that because of fear.
Right.
Oh, I'm scared to get on the plane.
Yes.
When there's people, millions of people traveling by plane every week.
Every week. Some business, those who are in business have to fly quite often. I know my brother, years ago, he still does,
Right.
but has to hop on a plane every week.
Every
you know,
week.
Sometimes there was times where it was like 3 to 4 times a week.
Right.
Right.
I mean, especially if you flying private,
Right.
you on that jet probably 2 or 3 times a day.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Going from here to there.
That's right.
If I immersed myself in fear, I'm going to miss that potential business contract because I don't want to get on a plane.
That's right.
Or because I don't think that I'm good enough.
Right.
Or because, you know what, that part of town, we're told that we don't belong there.
You know, the older people say, you don't know where your blessing is.
Yeah.
You don't know. It could be here, it could be in San Francisco, it could be in Europe. You don't know where your blessing is. You don't know what God has for you. I can say this, God doesn't make things comfortable, okay? He doesn't.
Right.
If you want him and you want something from him, he doesn't make it comfortable.
Right.
You have to go out and get it. You have to go out and show him that, God, I want it, and I'm going to reach for it. And when you reach for it, you wouldn't believe the things that he has for you that will blow your mind.
That's right. Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So you guys, again, we're just letting you guys know from our own experience.
Yes.
And we're not saying that we're perfect and we got it all figured out because we've had to take steps.
We've had to take steps.
Before you can start running, you got to take steps. You got to start walking.
Yes.
And then before you can walk, you have to start crawling.
That's right.
But you have to, that baby has to at least have the desire to walk. And you know why he has the desire to walk?
Why?
Because he sees other people walking.
That's right. That is
He
so
sees
true.
mama walking. He
Yeah.
sees daddy walking.
Right.
He sees older brother and older sister walking. And
Right.
that baby, in his mind, he's saying to himself, I want to do that too.
That's right.
So how many of us out here are saying, God, I want to live a life with more. I want to do that too. I want to explore this. I want my kids to grow up with better.
Right. That's good.
I want to be in a better neighborhood. I want to lose that weight and know what it feels like to have that
Yes.
confidence.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Good point.
You know, and if you don't break outside of that, you guys,
Right.
you'll never get that feeling. You'll never know what it feels like to be thousands of feet in the air
Right.
in that hot air balloon.
I'm reminded of a professor that told me one time, and he said, the biggest fear, this is in college, is to start. Once you start, that fear is over. Once you just step into it, it's over. You're in it now. So you have to step. Like Babe said, it comes from crawling. You start with crawling, okay? Then you start walking.
Yes.
And the next thing you know, you're running.
You're running. And we see it with infants.
Yes.
And when they start running, they're laughing, they're smiling, they're giggling. Why? Because now they can keep up.
They can keep up.
They can keep up with dad.
Yes.
And dad can chase them around the house, or mama can chase them around the house. Why? But it all started with them crawling.
Yes.
But they didn't want to stay there. The baby doesn't want to stay at the level of crawling.
Right.
Because ultimately he's seeing mama walk and run.
Right.
And he wants to get there too.
That's right.
So you can't stay at the crawling level, right? You can't stay where
Not
it's
if you want growth.
Not if you want growth. You can't stay where it's comfortable.
Right.
You have to desire more. And when you start walking and you pick those paces up and then you start running,
Yes.
and then after running, you're soaring, you're flying.
Yes.
And so we want to encourage you guys today. Thank you so much
Yes.
for tuning in to Living More with the Morgans. Again, you can find us all on our social media pages, and we everywhere, y'all. We on all the pages.
Yes.
We on
YouTube. Please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
Excuse me.
Go to YouTube
Yeah.
and type in right now, because it's a brand new channel.
It's a
type
brand
in
new channel,
Living
y'all.
More with the Morgans.
Yes.
subscribe, hit that little bell icon for notifications.
Yes.
You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/livingmoremorgans. You can find us on Instagram, you guys, Living More Morgans as well, and then also on Twitter at Live More Morgans, you guys. And so hit us up with the comments. Let us know if this is empowering you. Let us know if this is inspiring you in any way.
Yes,
right?
let us know.
Let us know that you're getting something from this.
We want the feedback.
Absolutely.
We love it.
Absolutely. And so hit us up in our inboxes on any of the pages, and we'll definitely get back with you.
Yes.
And again, you guys, share this. Go back and watch the rebroadcast. And if it's helping you guys, then surely it'll help somebody else.
Yes.
And until then, you guys have a great night. We love you.
We